Empowa aims to connect people living in Africa with affordable, climate smart housing through the use of digital technology, cryptocurrency, and blockchain. How do they do this exactly? Well, Empowa just helps finance the construction of these houses and provide inclusive financial services for habitants all over Africa so that they can actually acquire their own house for their family to live in. In this video, we'll explain you a little bit more about Empower, what they are trying to do, the technology and vision behind this project, the huge dimension of the problem they are trying to solve, and also dive deeper into the team that will be responsible to execute on this ambitious endeavor. So yeah, this is definitely a video you should watch about a project that is using blockchain to have some real world impact, real world effect, and to actually improve lives of those who really need those improvements. As always, nothing in this video is financial advice, only educational content, and in this video I'll just dive deeper into this project, do a fundamental analysis that still, it's influenced by my own opinion and my own views. So at the end of the day, you should definitely seek to do your own research and complete this video with your own research to make sure that you're making good decisions and that you have all the information that is important about the project. But let's get now into Empowa, that's what you're here for, and let's start by analyzing their mission. And as we can see here on their website, and it's certainly refreshing to see that contrary to many cryptocurrency projects, Empowa does have a clear goal. It aims to allow for 1 million of African families to become owners of a climate smart home in Africa by 2030. Climate smart homes are basically homes that are at the same time adapted to the climate variations in the area and that can sustain them, but also it relates to the constructions of the houses that should still be affordable, but at the same time use materials that are more environmental friendly, more climate friendly. In fact, their goal is even to build CO2 negative houses. Looking at this mission is certainly a very clear and measurable one, with very clear and measurable goals, but one that I would consider to be extremely ambitious if we think about it. And how do they aim to achieve this goal? Well, basically, they aim to act almost like a large property developer, but instead of developing properties, they use cryptocurrency and blockchain technology to provide decentralized finance for the construction and acquisition of these properties by African families, so decentralized loans, as you can imagine. However, to understand the need and the impact of this project and this endeavor, I think it's really important to dive deeper into the problem that is, in fact, a real world problem, the huge housing and financing issue that exists in Africa. The reality is that most Africans really struggle to buy their own house. There is a vicious cycle that starts with a lack of funding, as we can see here in this image, that also drives the costs associated with building houses that are considerably high in Africa because there is not enough funding due to the high interest rates that no one wants to take because they are a huge risk and they know they won't be able to afford them. So it generates a lack of demand for materials, for construction materials, and for house building, which in turn originates a lack of supply. If nobody wants that product, why should you be working on it? Why should you try to create the materials and invest in the production of those materials if they won't be bought and they won't be sold and they won't be used? So in turn, that reflects on a high cost of building and a lack of supply of affordable housing. So it's kind of a vicious cycle. And if we can change one of the things in this cycle, like in this case, the lending part, and also working on affordable housing, we are able to certainly do a big difference and maybe even break this vicious cycle. Just for you to understand the extent of the problem, the mortgage rate in Zimbabwe is 45%. So for us to have a notion, let's just use a mortgage calculator and imagine what that would be. So here we have a pretty standard mortgage calculator, and I will play with it to see how much we would have to pay to buy a house. So for example, let's say that the house price is 200,000. We have here our house price. Let's say that the down payment, for example, would be 10%. Let's make it even smaller so you can see. And because people don't have that much money, so yeah, even if they can save 20,000, it's a lot. Let's make the biggest long term, so let's say 30 years. Here we have 5%. That is a pretty standard mortgage rate. I think we could even get a cheaper one, probably. But right now, with the interest rate hikes, I think it's something that's not that unrealistic for the Western world, I would say. And with all these values for a $200,000 house, we would have a total payment year of 1,164. Not that much, pretty good, I would say. Now let's see what that payment would be if your interest rate would be at 45%. Yeah, and with 45%, we have almost 7,000 euros monthly for the exact same house, for the exact same loan, same duration, same down payment. Everything is equal except for the interest rate, and we are paying basically almost 7 times more with the change of interest rate. And if you think about it, just imagine buying a $200,000 house and having to pay 7,000 on it every month. It would be impossible for most people. And you'd have to be pretty rich and pretty wealthy to be able to pay $7,000 a month in terms of rent. But that's exactly what is going on in Africa. It's a crazy difference, and certainly one that deters many to actually try to own their own house. Because it's simply too expensive to get a simple house even. And if you think about it, you're basically hypothecating all your wealth, just throwing all your wealth away to do a simple loan to buy a simple house. Because if we do the math with this $200,000 house, after 30 years of paying these almost 7,000 a month, we would get the house for us, but the total cost would be 2,501 $280. Crazy, right? I mean, just for a $200 house, you would end up paying 2.5 million, just thanks to the interest rate. It's crazy, and it's certainly a huge extraction of value, and one of the reasons why Africans won't buy their house, and because it's not financially viable or even intelligent. But now you might ask a simple question that is also important: is why are interest rates so high? You might be asking. Well, that's usually related to the fact that many of these individuals in Africa don't have like formal incomes. They have informal incomes, which are not considered by financial institutions and the current financial system. While Empowa, on their side, they seek to consider these informal incomes as a way to set a lower interest rate and to give these individuals the opportunity to actually own their house. So coming back to Empowa, they aim to build the decentralized financing platform for affordable housing in Africa. And through their app, they'll generate an ecosystem of customers, developers and partners, and even service providers that will come together to build, finance, and make these houses a reality. And with this, Empowa will create a huge impact in Africa. They will help those that are financially excluded actually create wealth by being able to finally own their own house and have access to financing that they can actually afford. But more than just wealth, it's the ability to actually have your own shelter, your own place to live that no one can take it away from you. And that's super significant, I would say. So it's important to understand this, to understand that besides the economical empowerment of individuals, there are many other benefits that come from owning their own house. It provides them safety, well-being and stability. And instead of being explored with crazy interest rates, African families will finally have the opportunity to acquire an house that is adapted to the climate they live in, and that also will create in the process jobs and prosperity for the area. Because, for example, just building one house creates around 8 jobs, and this will in turn generate income to everyone working in the house, from companies to the actual workers. So it's not only the people that will get a house that will benefit, but it's the entire community thanks to the process of building houses. It will strengthen and develop the economy in the area for sure. But what is the benefit, for example, for the other part of this process? There are the users, the crypto users that are lending funds. Well, they are able to first support a good cause, which I think is very important, a cause with a real impact in the world. But not only that, they are able to benefit from that support. They end up earning a yield from lending their cryptocurrencies and from these houses, and from lending the funds to build these houses. The yield that comes from the house loan and the interest rate that is charged by Empowa. In addition, it's important to notice that house loans are probably one of the less risky kind of loans you can make, as people will basically do everything they can to try to maintain their own house, to make sure they are able to pay for their house and that it keeps in their power. Because if they lose it, they will lose their shelter, and that's one of the pillars, one of the main necessities of every human. So one of the things that we really don't want to give away, only if we have to. Considering that 84% of Africans don't have a permanent roof over their heads, or in other words, if you prefer, that more than 1 billion Africans don't have their own house, their own permanent house, there is certainly a huge need to finance and build many houses in Africa, and a huge market for Empowa to work with. Maybe you're asking, where does crypto play a role here? Why is it necessary? And why can't we just use money? Why do we need cryptocurrency? Well, it's thanks to cryptocurrency that we are able to allow for the process of decentralized lending. Cryptocurrency makes it easier for many people to chime in, to come together and lend their funds into a pool. And better yet, it makes transactions final and easily accessible in Africa. The costs of sending money to the African country are huge. If you think about it, there are many intermediaries, and sending money remittances becomes quite expensive, while the cost of sending crypto to African countries is almost none. For example, with Cardano, you only pay the transaction fees that are extremely low. So at the end of the day, crypto makes it much cheaper to actually finance these places. One of the things I enjoy most about Empowa is that they already have some progress. They are already actually working, showing results, and they have some metrics we can look at and some things to actually appreciate from all their work and what they are trying to do. And as we can see here in this video, we have several families trying out their new houses. In fact, Empowa partnered with Casa Real and was able to provide houses to 30 lower-income Mozambican families through their lease-to-own technology, which is very positive, I would say.
We are so excited as a family to own a house. We are very, very much excited. We get to do the things that we want. We get to choose our own colors. We get to design our own things the way we want. To be very honest, I didn't really have a plan because I've been working for the past, I should say, 20 years in my life. But managing to get money, which is enough even to buy land, it's been very difficult. Sometimes you try to get some money, probably funding through the bank, but it's also very difficult. So this has been a very, very great opportunity of a lifetime. I think it's an early birthday for me because I'll be turning 40 just very soon. So it's an early birthday present for me.
I live here with my family. Previously, we were renting a one-bedroom apartment right in the middle of town in Makinino. And ever since coming down to this place, we've seen quite a lot of advantages in terms of space. The house is very spacious. The kids are very happy and joyful. They have a place to play around. And having come across this opportunity, I grabbed it, or we grabbed it with both hands, because of the difficulties that normally exist. For example, to get loan facilities is not very easy. Even if you manage to get the loan facilities, you still have to face the interest rates that come with the amounts that are dispersed. So at the end of the day, I see that as a very good value for money that I came across after having this opportunity to rent to buy. Obviously, we had to move from town, which is quite distant, but there's nothing more comforting rather than knowing that you are paying for something that you are going to own.
Here, we also have some interesting metrics from their work so far, and one is that is especially appealing to me is that 96% of the tenants have actually made their lease payments on time, which is a very high number and very positive. We can also see here that they were able to provide housing to 129 individuals already and have created 155 jobs in the process of building these houses and constructing them. These houses were also much more climate resistant when compared to the previous houses that were being built, and 20% more sustainable than the local building practices, which is also very positive. With Empowa and this platform and this decentralized funding, they were actually able to increase the access to loans, while before only around 3% of the population could actually file for a loan and be eligible to get it. Now with Empowa and considering their informal incomes, we have 60% of the population that can actually get a loan, and that's great. That's great numbers for financial inclusion. Another super significant metric is that Empowa was able to reduce the cost of finance by 50%. They had to analyze any project and to understand their potential, besides what they have been achieving already that we could see here, besides their mission and their ideas and everything. It's also very important, especially in this early stage, to dive into the team, as I always say. And here we can see the team responsible for making it all happen. As we can see, it's a pretty, significant team, a well-rounded team with different skill sets here. But in this case, we'll only dive deeper into the four main individuals behind the team, the four main driver forces, because we don't have the time to go through them all, and because at the end of the day, the core team, the founders team, will be super crucial to decide if the project will succeed or not. And starting here as one of the co-founders, we have Glenn Jordan. Glenn Jordan has a previous experience, a lot of experience, I would say, in entrepreneurship as a co-founder in several projects, and even just a lone founder in several projects. Yes, a lot of experience in fintech and even a fintech startup for loans in South Africa. He also founded other properties such as BitProp that enables micro property development. So certainly an experienced individual, both in terms of finance and also in terms of construction, which is really positive. It's someone with the right skill set and knowledge from this endeavor, because at the end of the day, Empowa is all about financing and providing affordable housing. The other co-founder of the project is Phil Lewis. Okay, Phil Lewis is a very, very experienced developer. He's an architect level developer. And someone that searches to use the technology develops for the good of humanity to create solutions that in fact benefit humanity as a whole. So that's very positive. And his projects have been very related with that. As head of property and partnership development, we have Mario Dil Zenders. Mario Dil is someone that is also a co-founder of Casa Real, one of the partners of Empowa. Casa Real also looks to provide affordable housing in the area of Mozambique. And she is also the owner of Moss Consulting, that is a firm, an expert firm, in fact, in terms of affordable housing and investment. She definitely seems to have very valuable experience in the realm of affordable housing. And, she has more than 10 years of experience, and she even has her own company working for it, besides constructing and building other endeavors to actually make housing available in regions that really need it. As Chief Operating Officer, we have here Greg Schneider, okay? Also someone with a huge amount of experience, I would say, as the other members of the team. He has experience as a founder of a studio project. He was also managing director of a fintech loan startup, so very good, as Empowa is very focused on the decentralized loans and decentralized finance kind of situation. He was managing director in Superos, that was a company that was managing short-term rental properties, and he had many more experiences. So yeah, looking at the whole team, I think Empowa has a super experienced team, I would say, especially the core team. And they seem to have the right skill set, the right kind of experience, know-how, and past and even connections to actually succeed in this very ambitious endeavor. So far, Empowa does seem to be a very interesting project, full of potential. They have a great and very important problem to solve, a problem that is real, a clear opportunity by combining individuals that are looking for yield with individuals that need better financing and better options, and it's certainly good and refreshing to see a crypto project with real world applications and using cryptocurrency to truly make a difference in a community and to change people's life. In addition, they also have a great team with the right experience and skill set to deliver everything. However, this is not enough. To have a real notion of the potential of the project, there are other things that are extremely important for us to dive deep into. We need to understand more about the cryptocurrency side of the project, the technology, how it all works. We also need to understand the loans, the dynamics, and how it works, the yields that they provide, and also the kind of safety mechanisms they have for when loans don't go the way they want. And I think it's also very important to dive deeper into their roadmap, what they have planned, how they have been progressing on it, have they been successful and been achieving goals on time, or are they constantly late? But to avoid making this video too long, I'll in fact make sure to give appropriate time to dive deeper into all these topics in the next video, a second part of this video. I'll make another video about Empowa soon, where you'll have all these informations, and I do believe that with these two videos you'll have everything you need to really have some deep and valuable knowledge on Empowa that you should then try to complete with your research. Whatever questions you have, just research more about it, check the information. I think that's always positive. But yeah, if you'd like to watch that video, please subscribe if you haven't done it yet, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell so that YouTube actually warns you when that video comes out, because I think if you watch this first one, you better watch the second one and get the full picture, get the full information. And of course, if you enjoyed it, I'll be very thankful if you'd leave me a like, or even a comment. It's great for interactions. It helps the video reach more people. And, as I put some work on it, and I think I'm trying to give you the best information. If you enjoyed it, it would be awesome if you could share it and make my life a bit, I don't know, better, I would say. Meanwhile, congratulations. You're learning. We are in a bear market. Crypto is boring, but you're still here watching this video, and that's very positive, because you have a huge opportunity right now. And if you want to learn more about this opportunity and more about what you need to do to actually capitalize on it, to make the most out of it, you should definitely watch the video that is here next on the end screen. And on my side, thank you for watching, and I'll see you there.